Now, I was wondering, do you guys like, you guys know Tootsie Pops? Do you like Tootsie Pops? I like Tootsie Pops. Oh my goodness. Do you have a favorite color? That one, that one, that one, that one. That one. Yeah. Oh, what's your favorite color? I don't see any yellow ones. I don't see yellow or green. Do you have a second favorite color?
Red.
Orange?
Blue.
Purple? Anything? There you go. You like that one? Now don't open them and eat them yet. Now, do you guys like these? And what color do you think your brother? What color do you think your brother likes? You guys know your brother? Yeah. You like red? Okay. Purple's my favorite. Oh, you like purple instead of that orange one? Okay, I'll trade it. All right, I like purple too. They're my favorite. Now, can we talk about what you like about these? You said red instead of what? Did you get one yet? Red instead of purple? You want to trade out? You want to trade it? This is a hard decision. Man, why did I bring so many colors? Do we want a red one or an orange one? Red. Okay. So what do you guys like about these things? It's good. That's true. They taste great, don't they? You know why they taste great? Because they're made from sugar. That's right. We like sugar's a good thing. Question. You know what? They're not. Yeah, they do taste good. They are good. They taste good. But which part tastes good? Can you eat all of them? I don't think you should. Okay, but there are two parts to a Tootsie Pop, right? There's the hard side that you lick 982 times. And then you get to the Tootsie Roll part in the middle. Which do you like best? Tootsie Roll part, which do you like best? The Tootsie Roll? Which do you like best? The licking, so I have one licking. Which do you like best? The hard part or the chewy stuff inside? The hard part, I'm 2 to 2. Which do you like, the hard part or the chewy part? Chewy part, I'm 2 to 3. All right, which do you like? Is it going to tie? Or is it going to go chewy? Whoa! Chewy. All right, okay, that's great. Now, oh, there's one other thing I like about these things. I like the sugary taste. I like the hard part. I like the chewy part. But you know what else I like? Have you ever counted how many licks to get to the chewy part? 982. 982 I counted. And then I had another one to count to make sure I was right. Then I had a third one to count to make sure it wasn't just the purple and the red. It's also the orange. 982 licks until you have nothing left but the Tootsie Pop. So it's not only does it taste good, not only is it fun, it's mathematical, so it's kind of like going to school when you're eating a Tootsie Pop. I mean, everything's good about this. I think it's a great idea. Maybe you can take that one to school for lunch snack tomorrow. But you know what? I have one problem, and I need only one of you to solve the problem. You're the first one whose hand went up. How do we know that any of this that we're talking about is true? Is it good? Is it 982 licks? Is it fun? Can you count? So you and you only, unwrap it and start telling us. Start lifting. Tell us, number one, we want to know, is it good? One lick, is it good?
Yep.
Did you count? That was one. Give me another one. Did that one taste good? Give me another one. Turn it over and do for number 4. There you go. Is that one good too? All sides of this are good. So it's good, it's fun, it's mathematical. It kind of seems like if you actually unwrap them and eat them, everything we thought was true. You know, I'll tell you why I think this is kind of interesting. See those 2 books sitting over there? Do you know what they are?
No.
One of them's a Bible. The brown one's a Bible. Can you go get the Bible for me? And what's the other one? The hymn book. The hymn book. You know what's funny? What's interesting? Tootsie Pops, Tootsie Roll, Tootsie Pops are the same thing as this and this, in a way. All right? Here's what I mean. This book has some incredible good stuff in it. Great stories about Jesus. Great stories about, you could read it. Well, you can read that part. See, it's just like a book. Look. So much, all these great stories in here about Jesus, about God, about us. All these good songs like the one we just sang, they're all in here. And it's fun to sing, and it's great to read, and it's interesting and everything. But notice how this is the same as this right now. Does anybody see this? This isn't open, and neither are these. She's over here having all the fun, and we're just thinking about the fun. Okay, now, hold on just for a second, because they're looking at you instead of me. Everybody look at me. I want to be the center of attention right now. If you leave the Bible and the hymnal closed, you don't get any of the fun. Kind of like, oh, this is a lot of fun. Thanks for giving me this. Until you open this, until you open these, you don't really get the fun. So guys, read your Bible. If you're not old enough to read, have somebody read to you. And when we're singing hymns, when you get close, and when it's time to sing, you're getting closer. But when we sing. When you have your Bible read, that's where the fun is. And now, before you open your candy and run away from me, let me pray for you guys. Jesus, I pray that you'll help these guys to understand, even from Tootsie Pops. Opening is more fun than leaving it closed. Same thing's true with the Bible and the hymnal. Come to church. Help them to remember that and get that lesson while they're young so they remember it their whole lives. Amen. All right. Have fun. Don't forget to keep your brother on. Amen. World-changing acts. We've been saying it since, I think, September. God never called us to change the world. We're not capable of that. Thank goodness. We're just called to change our worlds. And a few more have been added to my list of world-changing acts. Some that were told to me. Judy baked cookies for a bunch of people at the school and just changed their world just by using her kitchen to do that. Bravo for that. And then I understand a couple of weeks ago at Buffalo Jack's, boy, the waitress must have been going crazy. No, I'll change her world by covering her bill. Well, if they're covering my bill, I'm covering somebody else's bill, and wow, the world has changed just by a handful of dollars, and that's the way it should be. I had a good week of it, too. Wednesday at the high school, I've told you my whole trying to collect 2,200 acts that are world-changing acts, all inspired by my friend Dr. Dave Rao, who's a month away from starting his Appalachian Trail hike. 2,200 miles, and this week, on his birthday, he's 64 years old now, and he's going to hike the Appalachian Trail, but on his birthday, one of my students, Ashley Fish, did yet another bake sale for him. She heard about what he was trying to do to raise $250,000 for students at Dayton Christian, and she said, I'm going to change my world and contribute. She did a bake sale, and after school, she was at $998. And two kids walked in. She'd been doing bake sales for weeks. Two kids walked in and said, do you have anything left? And she goes, yeah, I do. What do you want? And they said, anything $2 will buy, that's all we have. And she was so excited because her goal since September has been to change her world by raising $1,000. That's not bad for a high school kid to raise $1,000. And Dr. D doesn't know it yet. So if you're in contact with him on his blog, don't tell him. Because Ashley came in later that day, and she came into my last period of the day. I don't teach a class. They call those free periods. I don't know why they call them free. There's nothing free about it. It's like now I get to catch up on everything that I have to do. And she walked in and she goes, Mr. Kurtz, you're free right now, right? And I said, depends. What do you want? And she goes, will you help me make an oversized check for Dr. D on the AT? Now you got to understand, this is the last week of the quarter. I have a stack of papers this thick to grade and put in the grade book. And it's just like, yes, I'd be happy to. Why? Because she was happy at that moment. She wouldn't have been happy if I said, come back tomorrow. I'll see if I can fit you into my busy schedule. No. World-changing acts are about responding to the need when the need's there. Strike while the iron's hot. And so I gave her 25 minutes of my time, changed her world as she's changing somebody's world, as all of us are inspired to change the world. And, oh, this is so much fun. Hey, do you guys remember back to your Sunday school days when your Sunday school teachers, when you were little, were really clever? I mean, using a flannel graph board, using that storytelling voice, or using a song, they could teach you things about the Bible and about God and about Jesus' interaction with people. So do you remember this? How many of you know from your your little days. That little song about Zacchaeus, who was a wee little man, can I see your hands who know it? Good, because I need you to help me sing it, all right? Now let's go with this, and I'm sorry to be in advance, and Emily and your parents are visiting back there, and I'm really sorry for this, but Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he. He climbed up in a sycamore tree, for the Lord he wanted to see. Now the next part I don't really remember. He walked in the tree, and he said, Zacchaeus, you come down, for I'm going to your house today. For I'm going to your house today. Thank you, that was fantastic. That was wonderful. You know what? That's such a great, and I'm really sorry to those of you watching on YouTube, to my probation officer. I told you I'd never sing in public. I'm really sorry about that. Come arrest me, whatever you need to do. Look, I love that song because that tells another cardboard testimony. We've been working through that on cardboard testimonies. I told you I wasn't going to ask you last week, but I'm asking, how many of you have gotten on YouTube, you've looked at cardboard testimonies? Just a couple of you, good. That's okay, don't do it this week, because I'm going to bring a cardboard testimony video next Sunday, and we're going to watch a cardboard testimony together, and it will just touch your hearts. Bring some Kleenex, you're going to need them. But we've been working through Lent, looking at how, by God's grace, we start out something, that's the first side of your cardboard, and Jesus comes in, and by His grace, He does a miracle. The first week we talked about, was it the first week when we talked about the leper? And Jesus came into that leper, and he couldn't even hang out with people. He's a leper. And Jesus said, no, I'm going to make you clean. And not only clean, I'm going to make you a spokesman for my kingdom. And then last week, we talked about the little sparrow, the story of how Jesus sees sparrows, and how sparrows, they're just little nothing birds, right? They're not good enough. And a lot of us have felt this in life because of who we are and the choices we make, and just personal insecurity. We feel not good enough. But God says, do you know something? You are known to me, and even in knowing you, including your sin, you are forgiven by me, and you are loved by me. You become significant in God's kingdom. Well, today we're going to look at Zacchaeus, the wee little man. And I need you to turn to Luke chapter 19 for Zacchaeus and his story. We're going to read the whole story, and it's going to take you back to like 3rd grade when you heard this story in Sunday school. Zacchaeus and the wee little man, that's Luke chapter 19. And we're going to find his testimony. And I'm going to tell you, as you're turning there, I'm going to tell you this whole story is caught up in the details. I think I used the expression last week. The devil is in the details. And if you only understand this story the way you sang it so well, you totally miss the story. But if you actually read the story and you say, Holy Spirit, will you show me something in this story that will reveal to me what the cardboard testimony of this man is, a lot of you, some of you are going to find, oh my goodness, this story, they got the name wrong. It's not Zacchaeus, it's my name. This is me. Let me read to you. It's, Luke chapter 19, verse 1. Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but being a short man, he could not because of the crowd. So he ran ahead and he climbed up a sycamore fig tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and he said to him, Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people saw this and began to mutter, he has gone to be the guest of a sinner. But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor, and if I've cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. Jesus said to him, today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is the son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save what was lost. You know what? If you're looking at the details of the story, you're going to find out some pretty cool details. Detail number 1 that gets me is just the basic details about Zacchaeus' life. If you look at verses 2 and 3, you get everything you need to know about Zacchaeus. Here's what we know about him. He was an established man. He had a job as a tax collector, but his career had gone well. Not only was he established, but he had become a man of power. He's a chief tax collector. He has other accountants working for him that are under him. So his career has gone well, and it's a wealthy career. He has made a lot of money. That's verse 2. But did you notice something about verse 3? He wanted to see Jesus. If I can sum up his entire cardboard testimony, it's these 4 things. He is established, he is powerful, he is rich. But that's not satisfying to him. He's also unfulfilled. Here is this guy who's at the peak of his career. He's established, he's powerful, he's rich, and everything's going great. But this Jesus guy is in town, and everybody's heard about Jesus. He goes, I got to see this guy. I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to leave on my job and follow him. I just have to see him. And so Zacchaeus goes out and he has to see Jesus because he is unfulfilled. Detail number 1 is just the details of who he is. We get who Zacchaeus is, but we pretty much got that from the song. Detail number 2. Do you see the urgency? Do you see the urgency of being unfulfilled? In verse 3 and 4. Okay, so it says, verse 3, he wanted to see who Jesus was, but being a short man, he couldn't because of the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. Now, you guys probably didn't know this, and I should have told you like 5 years ago, but I'm clairvoyant. I can read your minds. When you're sitting there going, this is the worst sermon I've ever heard, I know you're saying that. I get that. And when you lie to me on the way out the door and you say, oh, Greg, it's so good to see you, you're saying, I hope you can get in the car where I can don't come back next week. I know that. I can read your mind. And I know what you're thinking right now. You like that story, Greg, because it's about a short guy. You're right. I do like the story because it's about a short guy. But I like the urgency of the action of the short guy. Look, I'm a visual person. When we talk about learning styles in school, I am the chief visual learner. I get myself in trouble because I picture everything. And I'm picturing this story. Here is this short guy, and he's a really powerful, established, rich short guy. He's been in this job for a long time. And he hears that Jesus is parading, he's going, and he's trying to see it. He's trying to see, well, I don't have to picture that one. I lived that one, right? Being 5'5" in a world of 6 foot tall, people, I'm constantly going like this, can't see. So I love what he does. He takes off running. It's the action of a little boy. Can you picture this? Can I help you picture it? So you have this accountant. He's got a briefcase because he's an accountant. Wait a minute. He's got a briefcase because he's an accountant, right? And he can't see Jesus. He can't see Jesus, so he goes, and he takes off running. He doesn't have like an athlete, he runs like a dork. He's and then he gets ahead of the parade route and he does what a little boy would do. I'm going to go climb the tree. So he slings his bag over his shoulder and he starts climbing up the tree. And now it's up in this tree and he's waiting for Jesus to come. This little nerdy guy is waiting for Jesus to come. You know why he was so urgent? And this established accountant, businessman, goes taking off running like a little boy and climbs the tree like a little boy? Because though he was established and fulfilled and rich, no, not fulfilled, established and powerful and rich, he still had that hole inside of him that said, I need something more than this. I love the detail of how urgent Zacchaeus was in trying to see Jesus. Then, if you keep looking at the story, you go, yeah, but why couldn't he see Jesus? Yes, I know, because you're short. Thanks for bringing that up. No, he couldn't see Jesus because of the crowd. And I love the detail of the crowd. It seems like I've been reading the Gospels during Lent, and I'm now through Luke, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And so I've been spending all this time, and it seems like every time Jesus is around, there's a huge crowd of people. Well, yeah, no kidding. Because when Jesus is around, he's healing people. He's casting out demons. He's resurrecting dead people. He's healing people. He's giving sight to the blind and taking leprosy away. And he's healing all these people, so everybody's coming to him. Every time he walks into a town, boom, all the people are coming. And it's not always people that are needy. Sometimes it's people who know people that are needy. I love this story of the 4 friends who have a paralyzed buddy. And Jesus is having Wednesday night Bible study at his house. And they can't get in, so they tear off the roof and they lower the guy down. What faith they showed. Why couldn't they get in? Because the crowd was so big. And you remember, When Jesus healed the leper guy, we talked about that 2 weeks ago. Jesus said to him, don't tell anybody. But the guy goes out and he tells everybody. And then the next verse is, and Jesus couldn't go out in public anymore because there were so many people. Jesus is by the sea with his disciples, and a crowd comes up, and they start to push him into the water. Preach to us, heal us, talk to us. And Jesus goes, can somebody get me a boat? I need a floating platform. And so he gets in a boat, and he goes out to the QB, and he preaches from a floating platform. Every place Jesus goes, there's a crowd, right? Oh, here, one more. Do you remember the lady that had the bleeding incident for 12 years? And she's in the mass of humanity, and she needs Jesus. She has so much faith that she sneaks up in the crowd, and she just reaches out and touches the edge of his garment. Boom! She's healed. And Jesus stops, and he says, who touched me? His disciples say, Jesus? That is an absurd question. Because you are in the Middle East, and in the Middle East, their culture is not like our American culture. We like 18 inches of personal space. Not in the Middle East. It's like touchy. It's like going on the subway every place you go. There's people everywhere. Jesus, how can you say, who touched me? Everybody touched you. And he goes, somebody that had a critical need just touched me. I felt the power go out of me. Who touched me? So this concept of this crowd, are you kidding me? This is classic for Jesus. Because Jesus can walk into a sanctuary where there are 50 people. And he knows which one has the critical need. He has laser beam technology. He knows the person that has the need. And that's who Jesus zones in on. So Zacchaeus has all this urgency, but I love the detail of the crowd because in verse 5 it says this. When Jesus reached that spot, he's got a lot of people around him, but he gets to that spot, verse 5. He looked up and he said, Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. Jesus knew exactly where to stop because he knew where the critical need was. How classically Jesus. I love that detail. Here's another detail that I love. We saw the urgency of Zacchaeus running and climbing a tree in his suit and tie. And I love the urgency of Jesus. Jesus looks up at him, verse 5, and he says, out of all the people in the crowd, he says, Zacchaeus. Oh, isn't that interesting? When were they introduced? How did Jesus know his name? Jesus, how little name tag? No, he wears a suit. He's not a blue-collar worker. He's got a suit on. He goes, Zacchaeus, come down from that tree immediately, right now. And I'm going to your house, and guess when I'm coming? I'm spending the night tonight. Do you see the urgency of how Jesus deals with Zacchaeus? Everything is about, come down immediately. I'm coming to your house tonight. I'm not going to wait until summer. I'm not going to wait until next year. I'm not inviting you to a retreat sometime. I am coming to your house tonight. We need to do some business. I love that urgency. But you know what? I love the urgency, this detail too. I love the urgency of a changed life. Verse 7. Oh, this is so typical of the rest of us. Verse 7, all the people, so Jesus goes to Zach's house and they have dinner together, and Zach invites all of his dirty, rotten scoundrel IRS tax accountant friends. And verse 7, all the people saw this and began to mutter, he has gone to be the guest of a sinner. Jesus deals with that. He does it all the time in the New Testament. He deals with it in verse 10. He said, hey, everybody. The Son of Man came to seek and save that what was lost. He said it elsewhere in the Gospels where he says, the doctor doesn't go to healthy people. The doctor hangs out with sick people because the doctor's there to heal people. That's what Redeemer does. So Jesus deals with that. But I love the urgency of a changed life. Zacchaeus is having this dinner, and Jesus is his dinner guest, and all the friends are sitting around, really sitting down on the floor, and Zacchaeus stands up, and knowing that it's a little bit of a hostile crowd, I can hear that joke that I've had to endure most of my life. Zacchaeus stands up, and somebody says, hey, Zacchaeus, stand up. Oh, you are standing. And he says, watch what he does, because he puts a finger, he didn't really say he puts a finger up, but he says, Lord, look. Attention, everybody. Ding, ding, ding. However they did in their culture. Lord, look. Focus on me for a minute, Jesus. He commands the attention of the room because he's a redeemed man now. And I love what he says. Lord, look, verse 8. Here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times that amount. Okay, so you got to picture this story. You got this tax accountant that's like a high up guy. He's a supervisor of other tax accountants. And he's used to ordering people around. He's a supervisor. And it's like he turns to his personal accountant and says, get my checkbook right now. In front of Jesus right now, I want you to write a check for half of my net worth. And I want you to give it to the local church or give it to the food bank or give it away. We're getting rid of it. When did he do that? You know, when I retire. I'd like to revise my will for when I'm dead. No. The urgency of a changed life is he goes, accountant, write that check right now. Half of my worth goes to the poor. And then he turns to another assistant and he says this. And run an ad in the newspaper for the next 2 weeks every day. If I have ever cheated anybody, I'm paying them back 4 times for what I've done. Run that ad right now. I love the urgency of a changed life. We go from established, powerful, rich, and unfulfilled to a man who is fulfilled. By the grace of God, because Jesus had the urgency in the middle of a crowd to call him out by name and say, get down here now, and we're going to your house now, and we're dealing with it now. The immediacy of the grace of God leaves this wee little man as a completely fulfilled man. It may be as you're listening to this and harkening back to when you were in 3rd grade and you learned that Zacchaeus was a wee little man song, that you're saying, you know what? It kind of feels like Jesus is standing under my sycamore tree right now. He's going, hey, come on. We need to do the backside of your cardboard testimony right now, so come on down. I hope you'll feel the urgency that Zacchaeus felt. Not saying, you know what, yeah, Easter's coming. I should probably deal with the Lord by Easter. Right now, deal with the Lord. And let him give you the backside of your cardboard testimony, not just the front side. May God add his blessing to the reading and explanation of his word.